Your emotions are like indicators on a car. Welcome to the Self-Concept Bestie podcast. I'm your host, Laura. This podcast is coming to you from my car tonight. I'm sitting at my kids' football training, and you know what? I've decided recently that I'm going to start making better use of my free time. So, been out a walk, hit 10k steps. I've just recorded a meditation for the community. And you know, I'm sitting here and I could have decided to pick up my phone and scroll on social media, or I take away a pressure from my tomorrow and I record the podcast tonight while I'm here. So here we are. So I'm not sure if the sound quality will be any different because I've not obviously got my mic with me, but we move, we're here, we show up, we get it done. So I was out a walk tonight and I just started, for some reason, I always come up with these analogies in my head. And I've been talking a lot in my community. We're really doing a lot of work on the inner critic, and for me it's the foundation of who we are, how we speak to ourselves, everything like that inner voice. I actually quite like to call it the mental autopilot, because I've done a few videos recently and I don't know if you'll be able to relate to this. Actually, I know you will be. You're like sitting and all of a sudden you've created this, like, you're 3 chapters into a story that you've just totally created in your head of why you should have said this, it should have been like that, you wish that person had said X, Y and Z. We've all done it, haven't we? Let's face it. And then before you're actually like, hold on, you're down a rabbit hole, spiralling, that mental autopilot is just took off. And you're like, eh? So anyway, it got me really thinking about how I like to think about our thoughts, our emotions, and almost to put it in a really simple way that people can kind of sometimes understand it, because for me that's how I like to understand it. I like things in a really simple way and like layman's terms, like explain something to me in a basic manner so my logical brain can actually understand it, because I'm quite a logical thinker, which has been quite hard for me on this, manifestation journey, healing journey, because I like logical things. But a lot of the time in life, we actually need to trust in the unknown. We have to be safe in uncertainty. My logical brain doesn't always like that. So I always like to come up with analogies. And this one just really hit me for some reason. Like, I just thought, oh my God, this is a great way of explaining it. So if you just imagine yourself, right, you're driving down a road, you're in your car. So the road, you in the car, is your brain. Okay, these are your thoughts are coming in. You're driving along and, cars are passing. You've got the car in front of you. You can see things. It's your thoughts. Your thoughts are there all the time. And then we're coming up to a junction and we'll turn on the indicator. The thoughts came in and we're going to turn. That's triggering our emotion. So our thoughts are, we're on the road, we're turning, it's triggering that emotion, we're clicking on that indicator, we're engaged now. That thoughts came in, we've clicked up that indicator, it's our triggered our emotion, we're going to be turning. Now, you might take the same route in your car every single day, the same turn every single day. So when we flip that and think, okay, we've got the same thoughts, and that is triggering the same emotion, and guess what we do? We react to that emotion the exact same every time. Just like when that indicator goes and we are going to turn that junction at that road, we take the same road. We choose to react the same way to that emotion every single time. What happens? it takes us to the exact same destination, the exact route, with the exact same response. Exact same as your thoughts. Your thought comes in, it's triggered that emotion, you react the same way every time, we get the same response. You can't expect to get to a different destination when you're taking the same turning to get home every single night. So if we look at it on a brain's perspective, that thoughts came in, it's triggered that emotion. So we've got that indicator on, we're ready to turn right. And we can decide, I'm actually going to take a different way home tonight. You're going to flick down that emotion. You're going to click down that indicator. You've seen that indicator, you've put it on, but you've paused and you've decided, nah, you know what? I'm going to go straight on. And you click down that indicator, you shut down that emotion and you decide to go straight on anyway. A different route, a different direction. Because when we keep on taking the same routes day in, day out, the results are always going to be the same. And it's the same with our thoughts and our emotions. If we keep reacting to the same emotion with the same trigger, we're going to keep on getting the same outcome. And there's an amazing saying that really resonates with me, and it was by Albert Einstein. And if it's okay for Albert Einstein, it's okay for me. You can't solve a problem with the same mind that created it. So when we keep on taking the same routes, we keep on reacting to the same triggers, the same emotions, the same thoughts, over and over and over again. We keep on letting the same circumstance trigger the same thought, trigger the same emotion, and guess what? We keep on getting the same result. It's just like driving. But what happens when we decide to change the route? What happens when we decide to redirect that emotion? It can be there, like we've just passed that junction, we can see the junction there, but we've just chose not to turn into it. So again, you can see that thought, you can see that emotion, you can feel it, but we choose not to turn. We choose not to react. So then we can allow different responses to come in. We can allow ourselves to see a different scenery, to see a different route, to see a different reality, to actually see what maybe is possible. You know, when you think about what's there's a great saying. It's it's the fish and the elephant. Oh, I can't remember it. But when you keep somebody in a box all the time, they don't know the big bad world's out there. They just know that box. So until we actually start taking different routes and seeing different ways of thinking and seeing different realities and seeing what's possible, when we keep on taking we keep on keeping ourselves stuck in the same place, in the same mindset, we keep on getting the same results. So I suppose I'll really ask yourself, am I taking the same route, the same day, the same time? And begging the universe to show me something different. Because it's not going to happen if we don't change course, if we don't change direction, if we don't choose a different path, or if we're not at least open to it. And that's one thing. I think there's a lot around, like this healing and inner work, and there's all of this talk about it, and I feel like it can sometimes be quite overwhelming for some people. And I know for myself, when I've been on this journey, that I actually got to a stage where I had created almost a new anxiety level. So I'd overcame normal anxiety, and I'd been on top of my thoughts, on top of my thinking. And there was a coach that I'd listened to for like Law Assumption. And it was very much like, you have to change your thoughts all the time. You have to flip them all the time because what you think comes into your reality. But actually what that done for me was, and I've now just been able to really reflect and notice that, I see change, yes, but what I'd done is I unconsciously created a new level of anxiety in myself that if I don't think perfect every single time, every single minute of every single day, I'm going to only manifest in the bad stuff. But we're human. And actually what's happening on a subconscious level is what manifests. It's who we are being subconsciously. So we can change the thoughts. We can flip the thoughts. But actually when we see what's running, so what road that we're on, what road we're driving down and unconsciously still reacting to the same emotional trigger, we're going to still continue to get the same outcome regardless of what we're changing the thoughts to. So I think it's about, one, if you're in that and you're listening to this, you're like, oh my God, I felt like that as well. Give yourself some grace because we're human. We have emotions. We have went through things. Our brains are there to keep us safe. Our subconscious isn't deliberately wanting to make our life miserable. But it's just keeping on bringing in the stuff that it feels safe. The same road that we go on every day, the same turning, because it feels safe to us, it feels predictable, it feels familiar. But then what happens when we change? The brain loves familiarity. Of course it does, it's where we're safe. But what happens if we just decide to take a different turn than we did before? What happens when we decide to see the thoughts coming in, see the emotion that's coming up, but choose not to react to it right away? We're going to start then getting different results. If we are consistently noticing that, bringing that into that awareness and choosing to breathe and respond instead of reacting, we start to get different results. Because we are then naturally changing what we believe to be safe in our brain by doing small things differently that's creating that safety. Telling your brain, there's many times I'll say to myself, I am safe, I am safe, I am with me, I am safe. Because when our brains need to start recognising the safety in the moments of change, when it feels uncomfortable and we don't want to do something and we want to react and something's really fucking pissed us off. But when we choose to respond and we actually realise that we're still safe in it anyway, we start to teach our brain a new level of awareness, a new level of safety, which then allows us to start reaching for different goals as well. And I think when people think about goals, it has to be massive. But when we put loads of pressure on ourselves to get, actually, here's a perfect example. If you're wanting to lose some weight and you're saying to yourself, right, I need to lose 3 stone. Yeah, in your brain, you're like, 3 stone, oh my God, how is that manageable? What happens if you break it down? What happens if you say, right, okay, actually, I want to lose 3 pounds. Okay, great. We get to the 3 pounds, right? Okay, now I want to do another 3 pounds. When you can break it down, your brain doesn't feel safe at this point losing the 3 stone. But when you can break it down and you're like, 3 pounds, well, that's nothing. I can do that. You get to that. You're like, oh my God, right, okay, I've lost the 3 pound, right, okay, let's go for another 3. You start creating the levels of safety through micro steps daily by doing, changing things differently, slightly, and creating a new level of safety. And you keep on broadening that safety. And yes, sometimes our subconscious will try to pull us back when we're getting to the edge. When we're getting to the edge of a really big breakthrough, it'll be like, oh, no, this is not for me. This is too scary. I want us to go back. I want us to be comfortable. And it's in the moments of discomfort that you push through anyway. And you decide to let your brain know, I am safe, and show it that you're safe. Get a meditation on. do some EFT tapping, get your journal out, get a walk. Jump up and down and get a dance in that kitchen and be like, look how safe I am. I am actually safe. Because when we can start teaching our brains and our nervous system that we're safe in that moment, we create a new baseline for what our brains will feel is safe, which then means that we can start reaching for bigger goals. But even smaller goals sometimes can make the biggest impact because it's what gets us to the bigger goal. So that 3 stone feels like a million miles away. But if you keep on just going with the £3, before you know it, you're a stone and a half, you're halfway there. And it's not actually felt that uncomfortable because you've not gave yourself this massive goal. You've not created that unsafety, that like trigger of unsafety in your brain right away. So it's not automatically self-sabotaging you. So just think next time when you're actually... the thoughts are coming in and what's that emotion and what's triggering it and what way you're going, how you're reacting, or are you responding? Or are you deciding that you want to choose different? Are you deciding that actually, I don't want to keep on creating the same reality and seeing the same stuff getting reflected back to me. I want different. Because with that mind, that same mindset, you're going to keep on getting the same problems. So you can't sit there and moan about all the shite that's going on in your life if you're not willing to change how you view it, how you choose how you perceive what's going on, or if you're not going to be willing to bring the unconscious conscious. Because until you do that, until you bring that unconscious awareness, what your subconscious is actually trying to tell you, you'll keep it running. You'll keep on the same reality. We'll just keep on showing you over and over and over again. And you're either going to call it fate, or you're going to call it a disaster, or you're going to head into victim mode. But you have the choice. You have the choice to choose to step into your power to bring that unconscious conscious. Just sit. Even with me just now, just close your eyes. If you can, if you're driving, please don't. But just close the eyes down. And just ask yourself, what do I want to change in my life? See what comes up. Just so there'll be a small voice in your head. Let it come up. And ask it another question. What do I need to do to start changing that? See what comes up. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, but write it down. And you start to listen to these little subconscious nudges that are always there, but we just don't actually ever sit and listen to them. Just keep on asking it questions. Keep on probing deeper and deeper. Get your pen and paper out. Lie quiet. Close your eyes. And just ask yourself, what is this situation trying to show me right now? See what comes up. See what it says. Start getting honest with yourself. Start listening to that voice. What it's trying to tell you. Really, really trying to tell you. Because we're going to be driving down that road for the rest of our lives. It's a journey. We're on this amazing journey. We're driving on this journey. And it's up to you if you want to continue seeing the same things, the same scenery, or if you want to decide to change direction and choose to see something different. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, today is already an amazing day.